Alright, so we're going to convert from imperial to metric using dimensional analysis or unit analysis, and this process works the same whether you're going from imperial to metric or metric to imperial. Now with these conversions, depending on what conversion factors you're using, the ones that are in the formula sheet, they're going to be rounded. So depending on the path that you take to get an answer, you may be getting slightly different answers than other people, but that's okay. So it says convert 4 feet to centimeters. We're going to round the answer to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to start by writing down the value that I start with. So we start with 4 feet. Now I want to end up in centimeters. So I'm over here looking at my conversions to see, is there one that has feet and centimeters in it? And down here, this one here has feet and centimeters. So we can do this in one step. So I like to set it up, we're going to multiply by our conversion factor. And I like to draw the fraction line first and think, okay, well I want to get rid of feet. So that unit I'm going to put in the bottom. I want to end up in centimeters, so I put that in the numerator. So when I do that, when I multiply that out, the feet are going to cancel and I'm going to be left with centimeters. So then I go back over and I say, okay, well every time I see the feet, I have to put the 1. So there's the feet, I put the 1 there. Centimeters, 30.48, 30 and 48 hundredths. And then this is set up like multiplying fractions. It's understood that this is divided by 1, so we multiply the numerators and we multiply the denominators. So the idea here is that when we multiply these, this is like saying feet divided by feet, so that makes 1. So these units cancel out. So then all that I'm left with is 1 times 1 in the denominator, I don't have to write that, and then 4 times 30 and 48 hundredths. So 4 times 30 and 48 hundredths is going to give us 121 and 92 hundredths centimeters. And we were asked to round it to the 10th, so our answer is going to be approximately 121 and 9/10 centimeters. And once again, that may be slightly off depending on if somebody chose to use a different conversion here for centimeters to feet, maybe more or less decimal places. Yards to centimeters, so same idea. We're going to start with 3 yards. And then I'm going to go over here and look, is there a conversion factor, a conversion over here that tells us how to get from yards to centimeters? So I see yards here, but it's to meters, not to centimeters. So this is going to end up being a 2-step conversion. So I'm going to go from yards to meters first, and then to centimeters. You may want to go from yards to feet, and then from feet to centimeters. That would work as well, but you may get a slightly different answer, and that's fine. Hopefully, if it's rounded to the nearest tenth, that may give everybody the same answer. So I'm going to go multiply by my conversion factor. And I said I'm going to go yards to meters first. I want to get rid of yards, so I'm going to put that in the denominator, and I want to end up in meters, so that's going in the numerator. When I have 1 yard, I have 0.9144 meters. Now I can do this, multiply that out, get an answer, or I could actually do it all in one line. So now I'm going to multiply, okay, well this is like me being in meters now. So I want to get rid of the meters and end up in centimeters. So when I look over here for a conversion, I have to go to the metric conversions. Every time I have 1 meter, I have 100 centimeters. So that's a pretty common one. We'll probably have that memorized. So every time I see the meter, I put the 1, the centimeters, I put 100. Now we can do our multiplication. So once again, this is like a fraction. This is understood to be over 1. When I do yards divided by yards, they cancel out. Meters divided by meters will cancel out, and I'm left with centimeters. That's what I want. So when I multiply that out, 3 times 0.9144 times 100, I get 274 and 32 hundredths. I'm supposed to round it to the 10th, so the answer is going to be approximately 274.3 centimeters. Once again, if you went in a slightly different strategy, you're going to get a little bit different of an answer. All right, I'm going to try these two. You may want to pause your video and give it a go. All right, 28 inches to centimeters. See if we can go faster here. 28 inches. And I want to end up in centimeters. And I know there's a conversion over here that tells me inches to centimeters. So inches, 2.54 centimeters. Now if I was going in reverse and I was going from centimeters to inches, I'd actually be dividing. This conversion factor would be flipped, and the 1 would be in the numerator, 2.54 would be in the denominator if this was centimeters going inches, and we would be dividing them. But that's not the case here. So 28 times 2.54 gives us 71 and 12 centimeters. Round to the nearest tenth, 71.1 centimeters approximately. 8 miles to meters. All right, over here, we do not have a miles to meters conversion. We have a miles to kilometers one. So I'm going to go first to kilometers. I want to get rid of miles. And then I'm going to get rid of kilometers. So I have to put it in the bottom to get rid of it and end up in meters. Now I'm going to fill in my conversions. Miles to kilometers. Every time I have 1 mile, I have 1.609. Some people mix up. Where am I supposed to put this? Do I put this in the denominator? Well, the idea is if this is kilometers, the 1.609 goes right next to it. And then every time I have 1 kilometer, I have 1,000 meters. So this is understood to be over 1. 8 times 1.609 times 1,000. I don't have to divide by anything because these are all ones. Divided by 1 doesn't change my answer. So when I do that, I get 12,872, and it's in meters. Now, there's nothing around there. It says to the nearest tenth. Because we got that answer as a whole number, I'm going to put decimal 0 to imply that we rounded it to the tenth, and it's going to be meters. And that, once again, that's approximate because these conversions are rounded. If you Google this one and type in what's 8 miles in meters, it actually tells you that it's 12,874 and 8/10. So we're off by a couple meters because of our rounding up here, but that's okay.